Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me this Saturday. I'm Fredricka Whitfield. All right, we begin this hour with President Donald Trump rejecting the Justice Department's finding that hasty and botched work, according to federal prosecutors, caused the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool problems. A short time ago, Trump said in a social media post, "I disagree 100% with Jeanine Pirro, the U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia, on the reflecting pool. I don't know what she was thinking. To me, it was a pure case of vandalism that included the grass, which had a big 8647 emblazoned in giant letters on it, and other elements of the surrounding area. There may have been some contractor difficulty, but the major damage was caused by vandals." In a 20-page motion filed yesterday, the Justice Department concluded the problems with the $14 million renovation was not caused by vandals, but instead saying the work on the pool was, quote, rushed and flawed. And it says it is dropping the criminal case against former Olympic athlete David Hearn, who was accused of vandalizing the pool. D.C.'s U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro's office blamed other federal agencies as well, including the Interior Department, for the bungled renovation and Hearn's vandalism case. She says prosecutors were not able to fully view the extent of the damage until after the pool was drained, and that visual inspection showed damage throughout the reflecting pool, even in the middle, where vandals were less likely to be able to reach. The unusually descriptive filing goes on to say Pirro's office requested additional documents which, quoting now, indicated a rushed and flawed installation process with repeated failures of the lining during the installation process and extensive peeling of the lining throughout the reflecting pool, unquote, as reasons for the widespread damage. Given all this new information, prosecutors say they would not have sought a grand jury indictment. CNN has reached out to the White House and the Interior Department for comment. We also contacted the contractor, Atlantic Industrial Coatings, and an employee said they hadn't heard anything about the new filing, adding no comment. All right, joining me now to discuss further is former federal prosecutor Michael Zeldin. Okay, Michael, you called it when we talked weeks ago. You said it didn't appear the evidence would support the claim. But are you shocked that this Justice Department has dropped the charges and virtually redirected this case by saying the lining is botched because of the contractors?
Well, yes and no. What was flawed and botched, of course, was the indictment. They brought this indictment before the investigation was concluded. I don't know who in the U.S. Attorney's Office was in charge of the investigation, but no one should bring an indictment against an innocent person, as it turns out, without a complete investigation. So they didn't do that. So shame on them for that. And to say that they didn't realize that they wrote in the document, they didn't realize that there was damage throughout the reflecting pool, that was widely reported. There were visuals of the peeling liner throughout the whole period that they were investigating this case. So shame on them, really. And I am not surprised whatsoever that they would drop this case, because they would have lost it in front of a jury in the District of Columbia or virtually any other jurisdiction in the United States. So they chose the better course, which was to dismiss rather than force this young man to go to trial and have his case won before jury.
However, I mean, this admission, comes after prosecutors had the goods, so to speak, right, to present to a grand jury in order to get an indictment. So it really is rather confusing in terms of the sequence of events here.
100%. They said they had witnesses who saw him violently tearing up the liner from the bottom of the pool, which we discussed was not physically possible. I don't know what those witnesses, why they said what they said and what was presented to the grand jury. But in this case, the evidence was quite clear that this fellow, Hearn, did not do what he was alleged to have done. And when they finally got when DOJ finally got the Department of Interior documents to see how extensive the damage was throughout this pool and how badly the job was done to begin with, they had no choice but to drop this case.
Okay, so you think the D.C. Bar should now be investigating, whether anything unethical happened here to even get to this point?
Yes, I do. I think that this prosecution was so politically driven. That's why it was indicted so quickly without gaining the evidence. There was no need to indict within the few days that they had since the time of the arrest and the indictment. They could have taken their time to get all the evidence, as they always do. And so when prosecutors behave in response to political pressure, which is what I think they did here, then I think that the bar should take a look at that.
Okay, so if anyone forgot, just listen to and watch how President Trump and the U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro kind of sized things up, how emphatic they were that the damage in that pool was done by vandals. Listen and watch.
Somebody went in with a knife and cut it. They cut it up good.
I think 290, 300-foot slit right through it, probably a box cutter or a knife of some kind. At the right time, you'll see it. You'll see it in court.
He damaged this pool. Well, when I file a charge, I'll be happy to show you a picture. All right?
Deranged individuals, many of them longtime donors to the Democrat Party, to Barack Obama.
Okay, and now we know the Truth Social, post from the president. It puts he and Pirro at odds, but in the end, this has cost the former Olympian David Hearn a lot of anguish, right? I mean, it cost him money. He had to get an attorney. His reputation was on the line. He's been in the centerpiece of all kinds of, horrible conversations. And can he do anything now to sue the government or, receive any kind of restitution for what he was put through?
I don't think he has a legal basis to sue for damages. It would be nice if he were able to do so, but I don't think under these circumstances he will be able to. I'm sure they will explore whether there are opportunities for him to do it. But I think what's most telling is those clips that you showed, which were purposeful lies. And the people who said them, the president and Ms. Pirro, knew that they were not true or should have known that they were not true, and then turn around and indict somebody on the basis of it. That's what I think is succumbing to political pressure. That's why I think this case needs to be looked at by the DC bar. I'm glad that they dismissed it. You just can't get off the hook for their botched and flawed indictment without somebody taking a look at why they did what they did.
Yeah. All right, Michael Zeldin, glad you could be with us. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Fred.